the transgender movement. For those people that have seen me revealing what the nature of human is, which is a corporation, individuals are corporations. Even evolution is what corporations do and not men and women. Our ability to change is limitless. But they don't call it change or changelings, as it were. They would like to call it by a corporate name. Once that sticker goes on, you begin to conduct yourself in that manner. The last 2 years since we have been in lockdown, men and women all around the world have come to have a realization, because for the first time in their lifetime, they were at home educating themselves with a quiet around their mind, what they call psychological space. In doing so, they have come to realize that there is such a thing as the world of lies. And the corporations and the historical governments, as it were, and the media and the advertising industry, the psychologists, the writers, and all have been engineering for you to give up your position as a man or a woman and move into the realm of human rights, corporate rights, and take up your individual responsibility, which is individual corporations. And in the last 25 years or so, they have been trying to hack into this word called man and woman. As soon as the corporations, the pharmaceutical industry, the pharmaceutical means the maker of poisons and potion. They will be trying to hack into what you and I know as being men and women. They will color the issue of the coloring of the law with the crazy making words that they use, getting you to believe that gender and sex are one and the same thing. As a result, they're going for women, because women have the ability to reproduce. What makes a woman is that she has a womb. That's one, as well as 101 other characteristics. Once the corporations have successfully removed and colored the position of what a woman is, they will now have successfully hacked into, right in front of your face, to say a woman is no longer has any standing. And same with men. The transgender movement, ladies and gentlemen, is people that cannot live with themselves. They cannot live with themselves because they've been exposed for over 30 years of transgender advertising, right into the magazines, from the mannequins that you see in the street shop windows. You'll find that the ones that are wearing the dress are all men. All the mannequins, the models, are all men dressed up as women. Narrow hips, broad shoulders, and etc. In doing so, unfortunately, and this is unfortunate, is that most men and women on our planet are actually quite weak-minded, which means they are very subjective to advertising. Take me, for instance. I used to be addicted to a drink that's brown in color and fizzy water and provided no nutritional value at all, called Coca-Cola. Why am I telling you this? It's assumed that I'm a reasonably mediocre type of intelligent man, or clever. And yet Coca-Cola, at the click of a finger, infiltrated the very depths of my psychology, where I now can't really drink anything else apart from Coca-Cola, like, for example, the whole of Mexico. So the effectiveness of this type of advertising is highly effective. So much so, they have now got men and women that find it difficult to live with themselves, albeit live with what is known as gender. Okay, now there are certain words that the pharmaceutical industry will not trespass on. But what they will do is that they will give you the illusion that gender and sex are one and the same thing. Full stop. The reason why I am doing this broadcast is because I was going through YouTube, which is something that I do as a form of relaxation. I love educating myself. I'm always educating myself. And that's one of the ways that I relax, because I work around about 14, 15 hours a day. So educating myself, I find, is the best way to relax, as well as going bike riding and some rudimentary exercises and stuff. It's not so much in the last year. Now, in doing so, in the pharmaceuticals industry's ambition is to convert men and women into calling themselves human, which they did successfully, because there are men and women that don't know the difference. Every word you use has a different meaning. That's why it's a different word. Yeah? But when you cross-contaminate these words, you achieve coloring of the law, or coloring of the words, where sex and gender is supposed to flow together, but they're not. They're totally different. In doing so, once that has been achieved, the pharmaceutical industry and the corporations will now have a pool, a reservoir, a large reservoir of men and women that can't even distinguish that which is and which is not. Remember that I have been addicted to Coca-Cola. So this stuff is not to dismiss those people that are going through these phrases, because they are so open to social manipulation, advertising, highly effective. If it wasn't, they wouldn't be using it. Ladies and gentlemen, the world of fiction is dying. It's dying because David Wayne Miller showed the mathematical evidence of their lies, as well as in passe, which is the constitutional parts of a word. This horror story, and I'm going to show you how this horror story works, is one of two transmissions. The second one will be, I'll be interviewed by some of my Tricks and Traps students here in my home, so I can give my audience a larger, more comprehensive understanding, cognition of what the bigger agenda is with this transgender movement. Okay? Now, how did you, before I go there, give me a second. I'm going to go into the presentation. Now, I want you guys folks to understand how noble omissions and noble stances take place. To come at it with, say, there is a great deal of nobility there. Like with the Black Lives Matter. No black life matters. They're disposable, because that is what the word black means. You have no standing in law. And that same type of mechanism is used time and time again to sell like people like Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, J.F. Kennedy, and etc. This is the definition, as poetic as it is. We'll try to be as congruent with it as possible. The transgender movement is a movement to promote the legal status. It's a legal fiction. Status essentially means such a psychological stance relative to society, i.e., I have a rich status, a middle class status, an upper class status, a fashionable status. It's part of a fashion show. That's what status means. It's purely psychological of gender people, and to eliminate discrimination and violence against transgender people regarding housing, employment, public accommodation, education, and healthcare. You see, they are giving you the idea that the transgender people, and they're calling them people, are somehow being beaten, hit, violently abused. Somehow they're not being able to access accommodation, education, housing, and somehow they're being discriminated. Is that the case, ladies and gentlemen? No. But that's what they do. That's what these pharmaceuticals, these judiciaries do. They get you to believe something that is not true. And since they have got so many people convinced that you should not live with your own sex, that we will have the ability to mutilate you under the surgeon's knife until you're satisfied. The stupidity of that statement is best understood by other people. Let's just change a little bit here. This is the definition of gender. Gender interacts with, but it's different from sex, which refers to the different biological and physiological characteristics of females and males. See, the FE is the only thing that makes it different from male and female, but they are all actually males. It comes from the word mammalian. And intersexual persons, corporations, such as chromosomes, chromons, reproduction organs. Gender and sex are related to, but different from gender identity. You see, today's education system is so incredibly poor. Their job is not to be able to give clarity and to demystify what legal fictions and status and what the sexes are and what gender is and what status is, but try to immerse them in a fruit salad so they can subjugate you into the word salad, which means they'll chuck in every single word and leave you to your presumption and assumption as to what these things mean. Your society, ladies and gentlemen, is mostly a very diseased organism. If it wasn't for the parts of us that actually even knows the difference between right and wrong, because they've already gone for that. They have already colored the law with that. What is correct and what is incorrect. You understand what I'm saying? People are very confused. And that's by engineering. And ignorant people love to protect their ignorance with their ego, believing that they know what they're talking about. I'll walk you through. These are some examples, as it were, of, people that talk about transgender and things. Your entire modeling industry, film industry, showbiz, television, newspapers, they are men dressed up as women, whether they've gone through complete sex changes or not. Even the word sex change gets you to believe they've changed your sex. You see how they play with the words? Because it's a verbal contract. Oh, you've had a sex change. It is impossible for you to change your sex. You can have plastic surgery or reconstructive surgery to move your hips around, shave a bit here, shave that bit, to lop off this, log off that. But essentially, the pharmaceutical industry, with the hand in hand with the BBC, hand in hand with the film industry, have successfully got men and women to feel that they cannot live with their sex. That means they cannot live with being a man and cannot live with being a woman. That's how effective it is. I'm going to change subject a little bit. The subject of augment. Augment, which is you see, let me see if I can phrase it better. You are given the illusion by plastic surgery or surgical reconstruction, as well as synthetic organs and synthetic circuitry in your body, that somehow you will be augmented to operate and function better than biology can. Biology means the study of life. Bio means life. That's what you're faced with. Okay, that's the definition of it. If the film industry and advertising industry and the pharmaceutical industry, hand in hand with the judiciary, hand in hand with the legislative, hand in hand with the House of Representatives, work day and night to change your children, your sons and daughters, into giving up their sex in favor of something else. But you will always be that sex. Now, why am I showing you this word? Follow the sequence. You remember Star Trek. Certainly from my younger days, this Borg Queen was a household name, as it were, because Star Trek is a fantastic entertainment. But on that entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, is a whole different agenda operating. And one of those agendas, just on this movie called Star Trek, and there are hundreds of them, they give you the narrative that the federal government, that's what federation means, federation of planets, what Star Trek is all about, federal government, discover a race of people, because they're all people, a race of people that have managed to live like queen bees and worker bees, where they serve a matriarchy, calling itself the Borg Queen. And this Borg Queen is able to speak through implants, mutilating her body, separating her spine, and using technology to give you the illusion that she is enhancing herself to be able to speak with all of her drone workers. The drones are only there to serve the queen, which called the collective. That's a beehive. That's a hive mentality. They even call it a hive. And the people, the early watchers of Star Trek, are in shock and horror of the level of the technology that's going in, replacing life, replacing biology in favor of circuitry, in favor of metal limbs and etc. And that's shocking. But however, as the episodes progress, slowly this synthetic, what was a life form, this synthetic life as it were, is all of a sudden friendly, where the Boer Queen now becomes friends with the federal government. They started this over 25 years ago, and as it journeys into your mind now begins to accept that technology inside of your body to serve the greater collective, you as a drone, is an acceptable form of doing things. Like, for example, having your bank stored within your body, your assets, and it's all part of a collective, which is what is happening at the moment. You remember this movie, ladies and gentlemen, In Time? Brilliant movie. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But there they're telling you, store your cryptocurrencies within your body so it can be augmented. As if to say, having your USB stick stored within the forearm is better than you storing it somewhere else, like a memory, access codes. They actually got you believing that you are too stupid to memorize your passwords, like your PIN number to your bank account. It is better for you to store and augment these pieces of technology into your forearm. You remember that, yeah? The cryptocurrency digit wallet. And he wins the game, and he gets to keep it. But in your mind, into your subconscious mind, what it means is that it is better for you to put your USB stick inside of your forearm and be connected to the World Wide Web, making you a drone, than it is for you to just simply memorize, like the whole of Africa or Russia or India or China does, as to what their bank accounts and telephone numbers are. Something that has been severely interfered with, memory processing power, by the pharmaceutical industry that damage you from the day you are born, and probably even prenatal, as it were. How effective? Because the vaccines, ladies and gentlemen, are patented products. They are linked to your cryptocurrency wallets, and the patent holders hold your currency. They convinced you to augment synthetics into your body, giving you the illusion that you will be better off and function better with synthetics than you can do with biology and memory alone. That's how effective they are. What appears to be a nightmare scenario for men and women turns out to be a program to say it's best for you to now stick that cryptocurrency in your forearm and walk around with it. And we'll decide whether to switch it on or switch it off. Your world is becoming more and more screwed up, not more and more intelligent or clever. You have, mostly Americans, and then the rest of the world, because it starts with America first. You gave up virtually everything, including your sons and daughters, to plastic surgery, and now mutilation. You remember this movie, I should say, Jurassic Park, one recently released? That's programming for you to say that the old dinosaurs, that's what we are, should learn to live with the manufactured dinosaurs called clones and etc. But clones itself is not the subject matter. These are dinosaurs, which are you in your subconscious mind. That's how they're speaking to you. These are dinosaurs that have gone through mutilation to change their agenda, to change their gender. You understand? This is not a sex change. This is not a T-Rex that was born a male is now a female T-Rex by surgery. It's not a sex change. It's a mutilation. And the pharmaceutical industry have been getting away with mutilation for a very long time. You see, consent is absolutely paramount. And that's why they spend millions, billions after billions of pounds and dollars convincing you the way forward is transgender. I don't think I particularly like being a man, so I'll throw my clothes away and wear women's clothes. That's about as harmless as you can get. But that's not enough. I don't think I can live with my penis, so I think I'll slice it in two, push it into my own body, and that will now become a vagina. And if it's a woman, I will cut open the inside of it, split it in two, and protrude it out. Make a protrusion. And that will now become a man. No. It doesn't work that way. However, the process itself is more horrific than you can imagine. And I'll come on to that in a few minutes. You remember the fallen kingdom, where the clone girl is the offspring of a woman that died, but managed to fertilize one of her eggs without a man. In other words, she is missing the X's and the Y's. Without the donor donating the X's and the Y's, as it were, the X chromosomes and the Y chromosomes, you are deficient. And I'm just going to focus on this one image. And I'm going to reveal to you some of the most darkest, most sinister form of subconscious hypnosis that's being practiced on you. You see, they create a monster, a dinosaur, they get you to believe. And it's a better version of kind of T-Rex, as it were, highly predatory and highly intelligent. And this girl, which is a clone, she was not born of a man. She wasn't made fertile by a man, but just by the woman. In technology, as it were. Something similar to what Monsanto does with grain. When that happens, she is missing so much, it is considered that she is missing a part of her genetic code. Another word for a genetic code is called a genie. A genie. She's missing a genie. And this creature is called Blue. That they made to work for the army, killing people. But Blue itself is genetically deficient. Blue, being highly intelligent, figures out that it's got some of its genetic makeup from a girl that lives above the laboratory. Blue, being predatory, as well as highly intelligent, has figured out there is a missing link. And Blue comes looking for the little girl. And before Blue, this massive dinosaur, enters the girl's room, it knocks twice. It knocks. And then it begins to enter. Instead of ravaging the girl, killing it, murdering it, eating it, with a great deal of gentleness, it approaches the bed in which she is sleeping. And there, Blue is about to touch the girl. That touch is called an imprint. When you imprint upon your baby, you are bonded. If you imprint upon any animal that's first born, any animal, it will imprint upon you and look upon you as its mother or father, or both. And it'll follow you around for the rest of the world, well, the rest of its life. It's called imprinting. The genetic codes begin to operate. The synapses in one brain begins to move and link yourself to whatever has touched you. Imprinting is very, very common amongst animal trainers. You see, Blue has figured out she's the missing link to Blue. But this little girl has yet to figure out Blue is actually her subconscious mind. It's the higher functioning parts of her. She's missing it. Your subconscious mind, as this movie is unraveling itself, knows this, but your conscious mind is merely being entertained. Subconsciously, you are being fed. You understand? They are trying to find each other. And they will walk and talk you out of giving up your genie. Your genie. How do they get you to give up your genie? Because the huge volumes of chemicals that you need to maintain your so-called transgender status is what robs that of it. It becomes subdued. I saw some of these transgender people arguing with simple facts in universities and stuff, and their level of narcissism was quite staggering. They were so self-centered, self-righteous, they didn't even know the stupidity of what they're doing. Just as, and I have to portion blame, just as a woman going for an implant will know around about 8, 9 or 10 years she's going to develop cancer. But she risks it. If you want to know how stupid people are because they pick up the words that are given to them, every word is a bond, and every bond initiates your cognitive processes to function your body, your biology within that program, within that remit. A packet of cigarettes tells you this will kill you, but you still stick it in your mouth, because that is how effective advertising is, and that is how effective it is once they have reached into your higher parts of your brain, to be able to get you to put death sticks, quote unquote, into your mouth to suck in the poison, to give you lung cancer. You understand? You Americans lost your freedom because they sold you 9/11. Just on the back of what you saw on a television screen, which is the theater production, including your news, because the television is considered a entertainment module. Even the news is an entertainment module. You know those people that you follow, like this one that talks about the reptilians and garbage like that? Look at his status of the YouTube channel. It will say, for entertainment purpose. And they are pretending to broadcast factual information, but running on an entertainment license. What would you think of me if I was using YouTube as an entertainment license? That means everything that's coming out of my mouth is just for entertainment purposes only, and not like the status it is of education and scholastics as for the planet potentiary judge position. Your subconscious mind understands this scene millions of times better than your conscious mind does. You see, you have what is known as an indigo children, or indigo men and women, or indigo sons and daughters. Yeah, which means they are highly creative, highly intuitive, and they have so many gifts. And their job is to convince you the only way that you can be an indigo child or an indigo son or daughter is to go through plastic surgery, to go through putting implants and altering your gender, as it were. And gender is only status, which means they're only altering your status. Like, for example, my status at this moment is a plenipotentiary judge. I put on boxing gloves, and now my status is of that of a boxer using, presumably, Queensberry rules. If I put on a uniform, my status changes to being something that of a uniform nature. Whether that's a pinstripe suit with a tie or a soldier's uniform. That's what status is. But the material I'm talking about is that they have convinced your sons and daughters, you Americans, you Canadians, you Europeans, you Indians, you Africans, they are convinced your sons and daughters it is better for you not to live with being a man or a woman, but really just make it more fluid. Like a corporation pretending to be McDonald's and one day selling Kentucky Fried Chicken and another day setting itself up as a charity, making themselves the beneficiary of that charity. I'm going to give you another analogy, and if you haven't got that by now, unsubscribe and just leave my channel. I have seen and follow X-Men. In X-Men, what do you see? You see the women that are mutants. Mutants means mutilation. Not a genetic mutilation, because that's what they want you to convince. Even Wolverine actually goes through mutilation to acquire his blades that come out of his knuckles. And they are saying to you how wonderful it would be to be this sexy looking blue woman or this incredibly sexy, beautiful girl as a mutant. There's nothing ugly about you mutations. Obviously not, because every single one of those girls is as sexy can be. And the men are all super fit and have 8 packs and 9 packs and whatever it is. But they have convinced you that you are a mutation. That by becoming a mutation, you have augmented yourself into becoming far more than what nature's biology gave you. Do you know, for 100 years, the surgeons used to practice as saying, we fix the problems that God makes. We fix the mistakes God makes. You'll quickly come to understand the pharmaceutical industry is the one that put the mistakes there to begin with. Through a variety of injections, through a variety of so many of them that I don't need to tell you anymore. Give me a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. So when you see X-Men, they're basically saying to you, it is better for you to give up whatever you are and go through that severe pain of mutilation to acquire Wolverine powers, to acquire superpowers like these females, to become and have the characteristics of animals. Animal also means corporation. Try as you may, no amount of plastic surgery can turn you into a wolf or a wolverine. Who is the bad guys here, ladies and gentlemen? It's the ones that you think are the good guys. What does X-Men mean? It means no man. As in ex-wife, ex-husband. X means no. It means no men. And that's what they're trying to get you to do, is to become no men, no women, and to give up that which is yours. Because once you do that, you've entered the world of superficiality where the corporate governments can control you. This is ex-salvia. What does ex-salvia mean? X. What does X mean? Like ex-husband? No. Salvia means salvation. It means no salvation. Who is the bad guy here in this movie? In the movie itself, not through your analysis. Who is the bad guy here? It's this one here. And he never had anything to do with surgery. No implants, no nothing. He's just a man who has his own biological powers and puts on that helmet so he does not get impregnated with all the frequencies around him. The helmet protects him from the contamination around him. You see, these are the screwed up ones. And this is the kingpin of them. Take a picture of him when he goes into, have a look at the picture of him when he goes into that mind machine that he uses to manipulate your mind. And then superimpose it with the villain out of Doctor Who, Davros. You will see one and the identical thing, both in wheelchairs. This is called episoding. When your subconscious mind knows episoding, it goes into hyperdrive and accepts it as a fact. What you thought was simple entertainment is as the starting processes of trying to convert men and women into become mutilations. Mutation means to mutilate. And they are trying to make you into ex-men, which means no man. Imagine that you are married. They're trying to make you into a ex-wife, into an ex-man, a ex-husband, a ex-wife. We have what is known as medical narcissism. Medical narcissism, errors and medical narcissism as the need for health professionals to preserve their self-esteem, leading to compromise of errors disclosed to patients. We are dealing with narcissism, ladies and gentlemen. Narcissists, by their very definition, are some of the most dangerously screwed up, and I would like to use an F word, but I don't think I would. Narcissics is something that you would want to use as a toilet bowl. These are subspecies on your planet. Definition of mutilation: the action of mutilating or being mutilated. That's not a very good definition, because that's a circular definition. Yeah. The real definition is here: the inflicting of serious damage to on something. Here's another definition. It's not an act, instance, destroying, removing, severely damaging a limb or other parts of a person or animal. Do you understand? They have to get you to believe you're human before they can walk you into being transgender, because they can't do it to men and women. So they'll call you human. And then they'll walk you into saying, well, since you're human, which is corporate, all corporates can be mutilated, destroyed, cannibalized, experimented on, etc. And you sitting there with your own biology, you gave it up by the stupidity of the words that we use. I say you, we, because I use them myself in the hope of communicating with you. When somebody tells you that they cannot live with their sex, as it were, they've already admitted that there is a deep psychological problem there. And people with psychological problems that make medical decisions are already telling you. And the pharmaceutical industries, who are narcissist companies, that itself is a psychologically thing that needs to be institutionalized, i.e., taken out of the private, out of the public, into the private, and into some incinerator. Your surgeons are mutilating your sons and daughters. Do you understand this word mutilation? Because sometimes I don't think even these strong words mean anything to you. Honestly, I don't believe that these words actually even mean anything to you anymore. So you think about what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. My objective is to explain to you what is going on. I have my own things to do, and I cannot constantly take on new projects to save the stupidity of people. You have to find it in yourself to write that letter to the teachers, because the teachers are being told to give your children, your sons and daughters, gender identification. Identification means an id. That Sigmund Freud sold you the id so they can sell you passports, documents, and etc. It's part of a status. They sold you an id. And they're about to sell your children, your sons and daughters, an id. You know and I know that if you treat your sons and daughters like idiots and etc., they will grow up to be idiots. Treat them with kindness and respect, they'll grow up to be fine young men and women. You know that, and I know that. Call a boy a girl, he will have crisis. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share something with you. You know, when you go under the knife, only your conscious mind is asleep. Your subconscious mind, your genie, feels every cut of that knife. It feels everything. Only your conscious mind is asleep. The parasympathetic nervous system is still fully alive. You understand? You understand what sleep paralysis is? Just because you're experiencing sleep paralysis does not mean you don't experience pain. Your body is just simply being locked down, so you don't act out in your dream. You see, people like me have come to learn to live my dreams. And that is what the pharmaceutical industry wish to take from you, because the freaks have no genie, no genuinity, no sex, no creativity of their own. So they are trying to convert your sons and daughters to give up theirs. I can bring this to a stop at a stroke of a pen. For me to write out that pen my thoughts, the arguments, etc., is like a month's work. You understand? Why don't you folks out there do that for yourself? It's called giving them instructions, the teachers, the schools. You don't ask them, you tell them, hey, you piece of dog shit. This is what's going to happen. Get on with it. Period. You go into argumentative or asking status, you lose. Of course you will. I hope this has been of benefit. One day I'll put together a program where how subliminal episoding, subliminal clipping, and how they have learnt to enter your subconscious mind through analysis of a particular movie or a chosen movie. So you folks understand that what appears to be innocent entertainment is not innocent entertainment. Just understand this. They have convinced your sons and daughters that it might be better for you not to be a man or a woman. If that doesn't get you, unsubscribe to this channel and F off, as it were. I only deal with men and women. And my hope is that's what you are. You tell your schools what to do, your universities. You sack those freaks, including those surgeons. The information that I've released just in the last month will have enough knowledge for you to do that yourself. That's if you have enough care for your own young daughters and sons and daughters. By the looks of it, when I look outside, how you people are, I'm not feeling that good. You see, one of the concerns of my concern is just simple self-preservation. On account of that level of stupidity that is out there in society will easily impact upon my life. Your stupidity must never impact on me. Never. If you are thinking that you are not that stupid, think about Independence Day when I release the information. And yes, I'm being very harsh with you because you've allowed it to happen. Just as the Americans, when they believed that 9/11 really took place, they lost all of their freedoms. By the use of a stage show, they got you to give up your rights. Oh, the Muslims are coming. The Jews are coming. Oh, the Martians are coming. Come on. The only thing that's coming at you is your own screwed up country converting you into a bloody corporate status to remove your penis and sew up your vagina and convert it to whatever they want you to. That's the fact of it. Anyway, I am angry. That is for sure. I am angry because you people out there, you've allowed too many things to take place. You have allowed too many of these stupidities to take place. You're going to have to learn to put your politicians, they're not yours, they work for corporations, your police officers, your university teachers, your professors, under the penalty of perjury. You need to learn to pen those letters. You need to participate in the curriculum. If you don't, they will put their dictating terms to whoever paid them the most. Look, I think I'm more angry with myself than anything else. But to be honest with you, I don't have the time to take on another project. Why don't you, one of you good subscribers out there, take up that challenge? Your pen has the ability to stop this from happening globally. Yeah? You're not doing it for me. You're doing it because of your sons and daughters. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope the X-Men movie, I hope that the Jurassic Park movies, I hope the analogy with Doctor Who and who Xavier is, what X-Man actually means no man, as in ex-wife. I hope that's gone straight through into your subconscious mind. My intention, which has been totally altered by my own feelings on this, was similar to the outcome. I wanted the outcome to be similar to what I gave you about the 4th of July and what it means. You know, not to insult you folks. But some shock therapy will go a long way for you folks, yeah? Because you don't want your sons and daughters to scrape out their insides. That's called mutilation. And you allow your children, your sons and daughters to mutilate themselves because McDonald's Corporation or Kentucky Fried Chicken or some fashion house told you to do so they can sell you more items of clothing. That's really effed up, man. That's really effed up. And you Americans, Canadians, Europeans, Africans, Indians, you've lost the respect of men and women. If you lose, you continue this way, men and women are just simply going to flush you down the toilet. You've only got seven years until 2030. Yeah, just think about it on the back of the things that I told you. Don't think that you'll have a life of screwed upness. Your screwed upness costs a lot of lives. Every time you screw up, like believe in 9/11, that the Muslims are coming, the Jews are coming, you screw yourself up. And that has a heavy toll. So you take your pen, you put your thoughts, you seal it with your thumbprint, put it on penalty of perjury. I've already set I've already set the agenda clear for you. I've informed every government on the planet, including every religious institution, that any man and a woman that uses their thumbprint and an autograph and puts you under the penalty of perjury, they have to obey. You understand? That probably cost me £25,000 to do so, but I did it because it needed to be done. So you get to work. Don't ask me to do it. These are your sons and your daughters. Bye-bye, folks. Think about what I've said over the weekend. And if I have time for a live transmission next week, I'll do so. I do these transmissions every time I've got a couple of hours to spare, like, for example, in the evening. I find this relaxing as well. So, thank you very much, and bye-bye.